Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing? All right, so welcome to our first Zoom call. If you see on the bottom left, there is a little camera. Click on that camera and you will be able to show your face. If you're driving, obviously that's fine. Don't put yourself at risk, just listen. But if you can, just so that I can see who is on, go ahead and click on that little camera down the bottom left corner of your screen or your phone.
What camera?
This here, it says I'm in, but I don't know what else to do now.
Oh, it looks like you guys are at the studio.
Yeah, hi.
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 We are going to wait about 1 minute to get started. We are going to try to start on time each week just because I want to respect your time, and I also want to respect my own time just because I do have to get a little one to sleep. So that's you. So welcome to the Zoom call. As you come on, I'm going to ask for you to mute yourself. Mute is going to be right where your picture is. If you hover over your picture, you will see a little blue box that has the word mute in it, and you just click on it, and that will mute you. At the end, when we do a little bit of a Q&A, I will tell you guys, unmute yourselves, and then you guys can get on there and ask away your questions. If you see at the bottom of your screen, there is a chat box. Click on that chat box and have that chat box up to your right-hand side of your laptop. If you're on your phone, it's probably on the bottom. And if you have a question throughout the call, please go ahead and post it in the chat box, and at the end, I will come back and answer those questions. I just don't want you to forget your questions, and then we'll miss that question. So how's everybody doing? Thumbs up if the challenge is going good for you so far. Awesome, good. I see we got Mimi. Who is this right here? We got Renee. Awesome. So hopefully we'll get some more people to come on the call, but we are going to get started. What I want you to do while we're getting ready is in the chat box, what are you grateful for today? I love starting calls out with that. What are you grateful for on this beautiful, what day is it, Mila? Wednesday. What are you grateful for? Put it in there. Renee is grateful for her family. That is awesome. I am grateful for all of you being on this call. It means a lot to me that I prepare these PowerPoints and that people come on and hear about them. Who else? In the chat box, I would love for you to put what you're grateful for, and then I am going to get started. I am going to share my screen. In 1 second. Say hi, Emil. All right, go sit back down. All right, I'm going to share my screen and we are going to get started. This is recording, so everybody will be able to see it. All right, so can you guys see my screen? Welcome to the challenge. Can you see that, Mimi? Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. She's shaking her head. Okay, so where's my little... All right, there we go. All right, so welcome to the challenge. Day 3 of the challenge. I hope you guys are enjoying the meal plan so far. It gets better each week, I promise you. And I can't wait to have my first 60-minute session with you guys. Don't forget about the 60-minute sessions. They are, sorry, I'm just trying to get everybody squared away. The first one is on what day? It is on Saturday at Chad's Ford, and it is at 10:30. So make sure you get to those, you guys. I know 60 minutes can be a little scary, a little nerve-wracking, especially if you're new. But don't worry about it. I always get everybody through it. And they're a lot of fun, and they really, really turn on the afterburn and the fat burning. So try to get to one of those. You can reserve that time in Club Ready. I put all of them in for the full 6 weeks. So get on there and check it out. All right, so welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new coming on, put in the chat box what you are grateful for, and we are going to get started. I am Stacy. I know there's a couple new friends to our family at West Goshen and Chadds Ford. So real quick about myself. My name's Stacy Cutler. I am owner of Chadds Ford and West Goshen. And I have had Chadds Ford now for 11 years, and West Goshen has just had their second year anniversary, so that's pretty exciting. I went to Westchester, so I went local. I've had 20 plus years of experience transforming people. I love what I do. I'm really passionate about changing people's lives. And when I originally started, it was strictly about changing people's exterior, because most people want to change their body weight. I mean, that's pretty much everybody's goal when they come into a gym. So what I noticed, though, people were leaving, then they'd gain all the way back, and then they come back to me and say, I gained it all back, I don't know why. And it really does come back to mindset and your habits. So, where's it? Okay, awesome. Sit down. So what I want to help you guys do over the next 6 weeks is really change some of those habits. And they can be simple habits. We're not going to be doing anything that's like major transformations. These little things can lead to big success throughout your life in all areas. So not only just in your fitness area. So I will get more of that in a second. If you can see the little girl right there, if you don't know Mila is my 5-year-old now kindergartner. So she's super excited, and she's hanging out with me right here because she doesn't leave my side. And those two people are my parents. They are my rocks. They are the two people that have always believed in me, and I'm truly grateful for them. And those are my two crazy Dumb and Dumber dogs right down there, Lola and Lily. And yeah, so my passion is truly helping people change lives. So we're going to get right into it. I have a lot to talk about. I do like to talk. I'm going to try to get this done within 45 minutes. I am recording this, so don't worry if you have to get off or something happens. Don't worry, I am recording it. Let me just make sure I am recording it, because that would be bad. It should be recording. I don't see the recording button. I think that's because I'm screen shared. Okay, so what are your fitness goals? What are your fitness goals? So we did give you that goal setting sheet. So you should have a little bit in the back of your mind right now of what your goals are for the short term and the long term. And I encourage you guys to read those daily. I pretty much read them. I read my goals at least twice a day. I have actually, it's breakfast and dinner is when I read them. And that's how I stay accountable to reading them, is I pick 2 times a day that I know I'm going to have like a set downtime, and I read those goals daily. I read my short-term goals. I read my long-term goals, and super important. So those goals that you did put into that form, make sure you have them written down as well. And if you don't, I can always send them to you. But read them daily. Read them twice a day. Read them 3 times a day. However many times you need to read them, I want you reading them. And then on another piece of paper, I want you to write down what your why is. And a lot of people think that their why is their goal. So if your goal is to lose 20 pounds of fat, that's not your why. That's strictly your goal. And I want you to start to really understand the difference between a why and a goal. What is your why? Your why is something that's a little bit of a pain point. Make sure that you guys mute yourselves when you come on, please. Thank you. So what is my why? My why is Mila. So I work hard every single day. I never give up. I keep focused on my goal. I change my physiology if something's going on. I'm sorry, somebody needs to mute. There we go. All right, so sorry about that. it's a painful thing. So if I let Mila down, that's gonna really, really bother me. That's gonna drive me to want to keep working hard and never stop. So your why should be something like your children, your parents, yourself. You know, how many people are doing this challenge for themselves? They want to feel better. You want to start, you know, getting into these new habits so that you don't have to focus on only being healthy during a challenge. You want to continue post-challenge, right? So what's important is you can't want what you're not thinking about, all right? And that's why we're reading them daily. You can't want what you're not thinking about. If you're not thinking about what your goals are, if you're not thinking about your steps to get to that goal on a daily basis, you're not going to reach them, all right? And it's very, very, very true. You can't act also on what you're not thinking about. So if you're not thinking about when are the workouts, did I schedule them into my not my fitness planner, Club Ready? Did I journal? Do I know what I eat every single day? Do I meal prep? If you're not acting, you're not going to succeed. So I want you to really start to focus on thinking about your goals and these steps to get there every single day. All right? So there's something that I have that's called the emotional triad. And some of you, I don't know, if you've done a challenge privately with me, you might have seen this before, but it's super powerful. And if you have seen it, listen, repetition is the mother of skill, right? The more we work out, the stronger we get. So that's the same thing when it comes to our mind and our habits. So the emotional triad, there's 3 primary patterns of the emotional triad, which create the emotional state that you experience all the time, every single day, all right? Your habits can start to control you, and that is where sometimes we can spiral out of control and lead to either depression, anxiety, weight gain, just being unhappy. And habits can be bad and habits can be good. So what we're going to try is to nix the negative habits and start gaining some positive habits. I want you to start thinking about what are the habits that I've created for myself over the last 12 months. Is your income, is it good? Is it bad? Is your weight, did you gain weight or have you stayed, plateaued, consistent? You're not building lean muscle anymore? What are you doing there? What's your habits? Are you not meal prepping? Are you eating clean? Are you eating dirty on weekends and feeling bad about it post-weekend and now it's becoming a habit? Is your exercise consistent or are you only coming once a week and that's become your habit? So all of these habits, whether they're good or they're bad, they're not you. It's just something that is now a part of you, and you can always kick a habit or create a habit. So that's what we're going to go over. All right? Thumbs up if I'm making sense. Cool. All right. Some of this stuff is so basic, but it's so basically important, okay? And I love this stuff. So I'm going to talk. Don't forget, put your comments in the chat box if you have a question. I really want you guys to use me over the next 6 weeks. I'm here to serve you with education, with support, and your coaches are too. So I'm super excited for this. Now, I told some of the new people this the other day. Motivation. Most people will come to me, they'll come to a coach, and they'll say, can you please give me motivation? I've lost my motivation. And the answer is simply no. All right? The answer is simply no. We cannot give you motivation. All right? Motivation comes from within you. And that's important to remember because motivation is not infinite. It's finite. All right? So motivation, the first day of this challenge, we are all motivated, right? I'm so excited because all like 80 something, maybe 90 of you handed in your goal sheet. All of you, 100% of the people, 100%. And that's because everybody right now is so motivated for this challenge. All right? But it's not going to always be that way. Week 2 is going to happen. Week 3 is going to come around, and there's going to be some people that just lose motivation. All right? So inspiration is something that we can give you. So myself, the coaches, our workouts, the Facebook group, the habits that come your way, the stories that you hear about clients like Dulcie, our coach at West Goshen who lost 50 pounds, pretty much did challenges all through her client life. Now she's a coach. That's inspiration, right? She's going to give you inspiration. We're going to give you inspiration. And when you're inspired, that's where the fire inside that belly comes for motivation. All right? So we can give you the inspiration. You're going to find that motivation. And then you're going to get dedicated, because at day, let's say week 5, some of you are going to want to just give up. And that is just human nature. We want to give up when things are hard. But what you want to do is find that dedication that you had the first 5 weeks of the challenge. Now, dedication is different than motivation. Dedication is doing something even though you don't want to do it, but you know you have to do it. All right? You know you have to lose body fat because you're on the verge of getting diabetes. You're dedicated to getting rid of that diabetes medicine. You know, Jack, studio manager at Chad's Ford, he was dedicated when he first started with me as a client to get off his blood pressure medicine. And he did, because he stayed dedicated. Even though his motivation dwindled at times, he stayed dedicated. And what that means is you now create a habit. He created that habit of coming to his workouts even though he didn't want to. All right? I understand that people are tired after work. I understand that life gets in the way. I understand kids get sick. I understand there's sports. I understand all of that, but excuses are legitimate, but they're not going to change your life. So I challenge you to really start to focus and be aware of what you are creating in your own life, all right? Because what we want to create are these new habits, because success is really a result of habit. If we don't create new habits, we're not successful. And if we are successful without a habit, it's normally temporary. And we 90% of the people will go back to that old behavior only because it's easier and it hasn't really become that habit that they need it to be. All right? So the triad, back to the triad, it's the quickest way to put yourself in an awesome state, but you have to take care of habits that are not the good ones. All right, we got to get rid of the bad habits, and that's going to happen by creating a awesome state at all times. Even when we get into a bad state, we want to try to get ourselves out of it, and that's going to be where the emotional triad comes into play. So I'm going to talk about habits more in a little bit, but if you're in an awesome and emotional state, the quality of your actions and your behaviors are naturally going to be greater, right? So if we're in a great mood, we're going to have a good workout. If we're in a great mood, we will probably stay on track and not emotional and eat because of sadness. So it's important to start being aware of what is my emotional state right now, and is it getting changed by something, by a text message, by an email, by a coworker, by a spouse, by a child. You know, they're triggers for a lot of people to emotional eat, and that's what we need to become aware of. If I do get out of my good emotional state, am I now aware that I can get myself back into that positive emotional state to prevent anything from happening, like emotional eating, binge eating, not working out, sitting on the sofa instead, all right? Because when we exercise, it's going to increase our endorphins, and that's going to change our emotional state, and that's super important. So it's 3 primary patterns which create the emotional state in which we think, feel, behave, and act, all right? The way that we do every single day. And these 3 patterns are focus, physiology, and language, all right? And it's very simple. So these 3 things create our emotions, how we feel, how we act each day. All right, so we're going to go through them. You are not your thoughts, and this is probably my favorite part of my PowerPoint tonight, is you are not your thoughts. You are the creator of your thoughts. So we create all of these lies in our head, all these stories that usually we try to justify with excuses, and that is what we start to believe. So if we are waking up in the morning and the first thing that we say is, I'm so tired, you are going to start believing that. You're going to believe that you're tired, and you're going to have a tired day. All right? So you are not your thoughts, but you are a creator of your thoughts and your destiny. So where you are in life is a reflection of where your attention is. And, you know, I went through a period of time where my attention was just strictly on not being good enough at my business. And if my focus stayed there, you know, where's it going to continue to go? Down, right? So I had to change my focus and my attention onto who am I helping now? Who am I helping now? You know, what are the awesome transformations that we're having? What are all of the people coming off of medication? All of that stuff. That's where my attention needs to stay. Serving people and being grateful for that, not on the negative. So, you know, start thinking about, did you go into this challenge saying, I don't know if I'm going to be successful. I don't know if I can meal prep because it takes time. You know, like, if that's the way you're thinking, that's where your challenge is going to go. So it's extremely important to recognize and start being aware of what are the thoughts, what are the stories that you're creating in your head. All right? So if you don't get yourself in an empowered emotional state at the start of your day, and a lot of you have heard me say this, if you hit snooze a lot, if you are just coming on, please hit mute. If you hit snooze a lot, or if you wake up and you're in a rush and you didn't make lunch the night before, you didn't meal prep, you're going to have a chaotic day. You're going to have an unproductive day. But if you wake up earlier than normal and you have your meals prepped and you have your clothes laid out for your workouts and you have the kids' lunches packed and whatever it is, you are going to have a peaceful and more productive day than if you are not prepared. So I'm a huge believer in, if you fail to prepare, you're planning to fail. So it's super important within the next 6 weeks, get a consistent routine on how am I going to prepare my meals? When am I going to work out? Am I going to schedule those 60-minute workouts like a meeting with my boss? And I'm going to stick to it and I'm going to go to them. So am I going to get on these Zoom calls and am I going to take in all of this knowledge of information? Am I going to take action? All right? The people who don't take action are the ones who are going to give up midway in the challenge. All right? So how you do anything is how you do everything. Think about it right now. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think about what your car looks like right now. Is it a mess? Is there stuff everywhere? What's your bedroom look like? Do you make your bed every single day? That's an indicator of what's the rest of your life look like. And I don't mean that to judge anybody, but one time my mentor said to me, well, you're struggling. What's your car look like? And I was like, my car? I'm like, who cares? But it was a mess, right? So it was like he knew a direct indicator of how my life was what my car looked like, and so on. So I want you to start thinking about this. This presentation will go into Facebook, so you don't, all right? So you don't have to take notes, but you'll be able to see this again. All right, so tiny shifts in physiology is all you need. So we now know we have to focus on our positive stuff. We need to make sure that our stories that we're telling ourselves are valid. Now, if something happens and our emotional state is negative or we're having a bad day, tiny shifts in your physiology, your state, your being, is all you need, all right? And that's the amazing part of exercise. Raise your hand if you've gone into our studio in a bad mood and you came out happier, right? I mean, everybody goes through it. Everybody has bad days. So why does that happen? Once you get on the mat and you start doing the warm-up and you start moving your body, your blood and the oxygen start flowing and your brain starts getting some power and you start feeling immediately better. It's because we're changing our physical state. We're changing the physiology in our body. And every emotion that we feel in our body. If you get an email or a bad text message from somebody, you know, you can immediately, within one heartbeat, your emotions can change. It could set you into a awful day. You could have been so happy. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I was driving the other day and I got pulled over because I didn't know. I honestly didn't know that my registration was expired. all right? I'm the one that doesn't think about that stuff. But I was like, immediately, I was in an awesome mood, and I went immediately into, oh my God, like, I can't believe I stopped. I just got a warning, thank God. And then I bought my registration when I got home, and I changed my physiology right away. And what I do is I always go like this. I go, yeah. Because when you move your body, you change your physiology. And how can you not get excited if you're staring in the mirror and you're pumping your arm like a silly person, right? So I challenge you, get in a bad mood, get in front of a mirror, start pumping your arms. Like, it's so silly, but it will change your state. All right? So, somebody didn't mute. I can always tell because I start hearing myself. So within the next 6 weeks, there's going to be stuff that happens. We're not always going to be in a positive state of mind. It's just our reality, right? So my challenge is just awareness. Be aware, because a lot of people who struggle with emotional eating comes from our physiology and it being stuck, like right here. And like you can feel that knot of like either anger or sadness or, oh my God, like I need a cheeseburger and fries from McDonald's, and it hurts. And because an urge, and I'm going to go over this later, but an urge it's intense, and that can really start to trigger and make you feel like you need it. So I challenge you to start being aware, and if that happens, please reach out to a coach, reach out to me. You could text me at any time, but move your body. Take a walk if you start feeling that tension build up, and it can go away. Somebody's not muted. There we go. Maria. There we go. Sorry, I like muted. Okay. All right. On to our next one. Focus. The truth is, whatever you consistently place in your focus determines where you live mentally and emotionally. Where are you focusing on? Are you that person that's complaining it's Monday? Oh, someone's saying hi. That's Mila. Do you wake up and say, oh my God, I hate Mondays? Like, you just had the opportunity to wake up and enjoy life. Like, you can't look at it that way. So start being aware of how are you focusing mentally? Are you excited about this challenge? I mean, yeah, you have to meal prep. Yeah, you have to work out. But at least, like, that's the challenge. Challenge means, it's not going to be easy. So focus. What you focus on, you feel, right? What you feel, you're moved to somehow believe. And the mind doesn't know real versus imaginary. And this was one of the biggest lessons that I learned. Like, your mind doesn't know the difference. So if you're like, I am feeling sexy in my size 4, 6, 10, whatever pants you want to get into, I'm already there. Your mind doesn't know the difference, that it's real or imaginary, and you're going to start to believe that. If you're feeling sad and depressed, start telling yourself, I am so happy. And even if it's not real, like this is imaginary, remember, I am happy. I'm confident. I feel good in my clothes. You are going to start to believe that. And the more that we say things and we believe things and we hear them in our head, the more action we start to take. So those habits start to set in because we're feeling amazing. So if you always focus on the negative, that's really where your life's going to stay. If you focus on the positive, that's where it's going to go. All right, I'll always be out of shape. I will always be fat. I will always be overweight. Whatever term you use for shaming yourself, if that's where you are, you're going to stay there. If you change that, change your physiology. If you start feeling that way, if I never am successful in challenges, I'm going to give up. Change your physiology first and then talk to somebody about it. All right, so we want to change that focus. And your focus literally determines the actions you take and the direction of your life. That was me right after, Mila was about 1, and I was miserable. I felt like a failure. I was fearful of things. I felt shameful because I wasn't, in the best shape and I'm a trainer and I was addicted to sugar. I'm a sugar addict, prior sugar addict. I am not anymore. If you are a sugar addict, feel free to talk to me. I cared what everybody thinks. I'm still working on that. I had a lot of self-hate. I even went to Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny in 2016 because I didn't like who I was. I went there, and it was like the most amazing experience of my life, and I learned to just be happy with what I am right now. And, you know, a lot of us want, but we're not grateful for what we have, and we have to be grateful for what we have in order to change, all right? So instead, I started becoming powerful in my mind. I started meditating. I started strength training more. I started really pretending to be happy, and all of that started snowballing into my weight. And I wasn't really focusing on my weight, which was the cool part. I was just focusing on being happy, stronger, courageous, passionate, and helping other people. I stopped focusing on the self-hate, the self-doubt, the self-worth, all of that. And it changed me just by happening. And people are like, you ever hear the law of attraction? That's really what it is. So I keep saying this, but start being aware of how you speak to yourself. Because where focus goes, energy flows. And it is so, so, so true. My mentors say that all the time still, and I've been with them for 5-6 years. So it's very important to realize, what are you focusing on? Like, I don't go out with a lot of prior friends anymore just because, like, all the focus was on negativity and, like, how they hated life and hated their jobs and they hated everything. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, you guys, like, we have this opportunity to be alive and to serve and to contribute to the world and change lives, but their mindset wasn't there. So I had to leave. And that's exactly this. It's the language that we say. It's the language that we use. It's the language that we share with our kids. Like, you know, your kids are watching what you do, what you say, what you feel, what emotional triggers you to eat. They're watching that. So if you're saying, you know, I don't feel like working out, they're going to say, I don't want to do gym, right? At school. You got to start watching what your language is. Our words and language patterns change how we feel too. So if I wake up every day saying, I'm so tired, I am worthless, I hate what I look like, that's really powerful words. And 90% of the people will wake up in the morning and they'll walk over to a mirror or completely avoid a mirror and say how disgusted they are with their body. And I know this because when I meet with people one-on-one, I hear it all the time. So I am. And if you're tired, if you're fat, if you're sad, if you're worthless, that's what you will become. All right. So I challenge you to make up your own words, and we will be doing this in our Facebook group. But what are your affirmations? And every morning, like, I am strength. And for a while, I stopped doing it, and you start to feel that way again. So I really want you to start thinking of maybe 5 to 7 words that are your words. And you wake up, and when you pump that fist in the mirror, and it's silly, I know it's silly, but I'm strength, I'm courage, I'm passion, I'm determined. And when you start to do that over and over and over again, you're going to be really amazed how confident you start to get, and how you start to believe that. And if you're not believing it right now. So language is huge. Language goes back to what you focus on. So if you're focusing on the negative, then the negative language comes out. If you're focusing on the positive language is within you, and you start to make a difference in yourself. Stop. Where are we on time? 7:35. Doing good. All right. So everything you do is a habit. You can do or be anything you want. You can make anything a habit. You could make biting your nails a habit within like minutes. It's easy, but don't do that. But the cool thing about a habit is it's not you. It's really not you. It's your brain, and it's a survival mechanism. An emotional eating habit is extremely a survival mechanism when pain sets in, and it's a serious one. And it's actually another one that I've been through. So I've been through sugar addiction. I've been through emotional binge eating. I'm very open about it because my story can help your story. If you're feeling alone in that, use your coach, use me to really get out of that, because emotional eating is a really, really serious thing for people, and so many people go through it. It could be emotional eating for negative, but it also can be an emotional eating issue when it comes to good things like going out to happy hours and binge drinking and stuff like that. So just a side note, if you're feeling like you're struggling, please reach out. It's something that we are here to help you with. And it's also something that, most gyms don't talk about. Planet Fitness, it's really hard for me to understand how a gym would provide pizza, bagels, Tootsie Rolls for clients who are struggling, who are suffering in silence with eating, and they think it's a nice gesture to provide that, because I don't even know. I can't even talk about it. I don't understand it. But anyway, so willpower doesn't work. So when people say, oh, I got to get this willpower to not, eat the pizza when my kids are eating it, willpower doesn't work to break bad habits. All right. So if you're an emotional eater, or if you eat bad on weekends, you're not going to break it just by being strong. All right. It doesn't happen. Your habit starts with a single thought. And the single thought could be, oh, you walked by, I don't know, you drove by Dunkin' Donuts. Now all of a sudden you are like fixated on, I want a donut. All right. So it starts with one thought, and they go away by dismissing them. If you ignore them, and ignore and dismiss is two totally different things. You can get rid of that thought by dismissing it. You cannot get rid of the thought by just ignoring it, because if you ever try to ignore something, it's almost like it is exaggerated. So I'm going to go back to this one real quick. Where is that at? So willpower doesn't work. If it did, you would already be free of your bad habits, right? So using willpower gives the original thought more power, all right? Say that to yourself. Using willpower gives the original thought more power. So if my thought is, I really want a donut, but I'm not going to have it, then all of a sudden it's like magnified. It's like a bigger urge than you wanted before you thought of that one thought. So when you're trying to overpower that original thought, it makes it stronger, and then all of a sudden it signals your brain to keep your habit alive. And if your habit is emotional eating, then now your brain is being signaled, okay, she wants a donut, let's get it for her. And your brain's saying, get the donut. Urges make it stronger, all right? So it's trying to keep your habit alive. It's trying to be in survival mode. And the brain thinks that urge is important to you. It's necessary. All right. So the urges are brain signals in your head saying, eat the donut, get the donut. All right. So let's go back to here. All right. So a habit is an acquired behavior pattern regularly followed until it's become almost involuntary. All right. It's not always involuntary. Brushing your teeth is a habit that isn't involuntary. Like, we don't wake up and say, I'm thinking about brushing my teeth today, but I don't really know if I should. No, we just do it. It's a habit. We do it. We teach our children. Like right now, Mila, it's not a habit for Mila. Like, I have to beg her to brush her teeth, right? So that is a habit, a pattern that I'm trying to get her to regularly follow until it does become something that's more of a habit. Now, my niece Aria, she has the habit already down to a T. She's 6 weeks older than Mila, and she has that habit down to a T, and it's involuntary for her. She goes right to the toothbrush. Your morning routine, is it the same sequence over and over again? Like, do you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you go downstairs, you put the coffee maker on, you let your dog outside? Like, that's a habit, all right? That's not something that you're thinking about, what am I going to do today when I step outside of my bed? Am I going to go to the toilet? It's all there, all right? So a habit is something that becomes pretty much almost involuntary. The thing with habits is when we try to change them, when we try to change the behavior, we a lot of times fail and we go back to the bad habit because it's easier. It's easier. So, how many times have you tried to lose weight and you fail? How many times maybe you were a smoker and you went back to it? How many people try to diet and then within like 24 hours, like, you already failed? How many tried exercise and failed? So we fail from trying to use willpower, and that's where it comes down to. So if we're trying to use willpower or thinking our way out of it, then it's not going to work. If we try to ignore it, it just gets magnified, and then we do it anyway. All right? So how do we eliminate bad habits? So what I want you to do is over the next 6 weeks, maybe focus on one. You don't want to do so many that it's overwhelming. You know, maybe one habit is to eliminate sugar. Maybe one habit is to eliminate alcohol that you go to every single night because it became a habit to pour a glass of wine and it makes you feel better, right? Pick a habit that you want to eliminate. You do want a habit that you want to get rid of. The more that you don't want to get rid of it and you try, that's the same thing as willpower. You're going to go back to it. So pick a habit over the next 6 weeks that you want to try to get rid of. And also, you know, it's important to know, is this habit making a difference in my life, or is it making something in my life suffer? If it's a bad habit, let's get rid of it. Make declaration about eliminating. Make it broadcasted. You know, like I have accountability partners that are all across the country, and I reach out to CJ, I reach out to Matt, and I tell them, listen, I got to create this new habit of running my numbers every Friday, blah, blah, blah. Like, I want you to hold me accountable for that, because the more I'm held accountable for it, the more I'm going to succeed at it, and the more it's going to become basically involuntary on a Friday. Same thing with you guys. Like, talk to your coaches. If your coach you want that your coach to be your accountability person, do it. Make a declaration and stick by it. Nothing's going to happen until you decide. If it's something that you're doing because somebody else told you, or you think you might do it, you need to decide that's something that you want to give up to better yourself, to better your life. If I don't want to quit, what's going to happen in a year? If I keep going, if I keep binge eating like I was doing, am I going to, in a year, what is going to happen? Like, I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to have diabetes. I'm going to suffer in silence. I'm going to be depressed. All of these things, you need to know what are the consequences that are going to happen if I don't change this habit today. All right? What's going to happen in 5 years? So one thing is, you could think of like a hoarder. Like a hoarder is they go through years where they bring things in, they hoard them. And if you don't stop in 5 years, you're going to be on that television show. So you have to want to give it up, but you also want to be aware of what's going to happen if I don't give it up. And give yourself some time to change. I'm a huge believer in being kind to yourself when you're making changes. A habit's a habit. You made it a habit, but you can change it. And that's the awesome part. You can change anything. But give yourself time and be kind to yourself. So many people are like, oh my God, it's the second day of the challenge and I didn't lose 15 pounds. No, be kind to yourself. It's going to happen because you're going to follow the plan and you're going to stick with it and you're going to find that dedication. But, like first week, somebody might lose 10 pounds. Somebody might lose 1 pound. Everyone's different. Everyone's on their own journey. Be kind to yourself. And remember that if you start saying, well, they did it and I didn't, so I'm a failure, that's what you're going to continue to be, a failure. So you have to remember, the stories we say is what we become. So remember that, all right? A setback, if we binge eat or we had an emotional day or we didn't eat our pudding pop, like setbacks mean nothing, all right? They mean nothing. Dismiss that shit. And you can remember that quote, dismiss it, all right? When you dismiss something, you move your attention away from it. And you go into that emotional triad, that physiology, and change it. All right, so here's an example. A setback. I went out to happy hour. I had a beer. I really didn't want to go there and have a beer. I wanted to just have the ice water. I had the beer. Get over it, all right? Be like, I did it. Dismiss that shit and move on. You got to change either go for a run or go for a walk with your family. Like, just dismiss it, because the more you dwell on it, the more that urge is going to come into your mind and say, oh, well, I had a beer. I'm just going to go have a pizza now, right? So how many of us have done that? We've sabotaged ourselves because of one small mistake, all right? And that's all it is. It's just a setback. And I always say, setback is a setup for a comeback. So keep that in your mind, all right? we went over this. Willpower does not work. Urges are your brain signal that habit needs to happen, all right? The bigger the urge, the harder it is to avoid it. Urges are just tension, and when we act on them, so when we do emotionally eat, what all it does is it releases that tension, that feeling of, oh my God, I want the donut. I want that donut so bad, and then I have it, I'm like, oh, okay, I released the tension, and it was normally coming from something that's deeper, whether it's something emotional that you're going through at the time, something from your childhood, something somewhere, all right? When you stop acting on urges, the habit will die. So if you're like, I want the donut, let me go for a run instead because I'm aware of it, and then you go for that run and then you don't have the donut, and let's say you do that like 10, 15 times, all of a sudden that feeling of I need a donut might not even happen anymore. You know, like if you go off of sugar, you'd be surprised how quick you don't crave it. So habits can die, and that's what we want them to do, the bad ones. I told you this before. Brain thinks habits are survival mechanisms. This is why it feels bad when you don't do them. So it's super hard for most people to change that. And it is scary. So if you are going through something and you don't know how to get out of that emotional eating feeling, reach out to your coach. Reach out to me because it can be a little bit scary when you're trying to do it. All right, ignoring versus dismissing. And I said that these are two different things. They are. Ignoring it just is going to make it stronger. So if we just ignore it, it's going to make it stronger, and that tension is going to continue to build up. And what's going to happen is the reptilian brain, the prefrontal brain, it's going to think about cake. So if I said, don't think about chocolate cake with buttercream icing, you're going to continuously think about that, right? It's not something that you're able to ignore. So dismissing it it's making an urge go away. So I am not having this conversation right now and walk away, all right? If somebody came up to you and was like, let's go out, do you want this beer? It tastes really good. I'm not having this conversation right now, and walk away and say, cancel, cancel, cancel. You must dismiss the thought and change your state. All right. So if you're walking by a Wawa and you want something in there, Wawa is like a really bad trigger for me. I walk in there and I want a soft pretzel. If you do that and you walk in and you say cancel, 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 and dismiss the thought and change your state by either walking out or going for a run or whatever it is, then you're going to change that urge to have that pretzel. All right. So ignoring it makes it stronger. Dismissing it is cancel, 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 and walking away from it. All right. I do have a little bit of an exercise that you can do on your own, and it's called I want so that. Now, desire plus it's an already done energy gets results. All right. So I want 4 Fit Body locations so that I help thousands of people shift their life with fitness and mindset goals, and I want to make a difference. So me saying this over and over and over again, it's an already done energy. I already feel it. I already know it's going to happen, all right? And it's going to equal results later. I want a beach house, and some of these are not true right now, so that's what I'm going for. I want a beach house so that Mila and I can create memories in it together. Okay, so it's an already done energy equaling magical results. And I want you to write a few of these for the 6-week challenge. So I want to lose 12 inches so that I can feel better in my clothes, in my bathing suit, on the beach. All right, it's an already done energy. You're already going to get there because you're going to read that over and over and over again. I want to get off my blood pressure medicine so that I can live a nice long life and have a great relationship with my grandchildren. All right, I want so that. You should write these down. I always only do like 4 and read them over and over and over again. It's funny because I did this exercise at Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins, and I did them, and for about a year read them, and I had 4, and 2 of them came true that year. I got a house, and I got a Louis Vuitton bag. That's awesome. So, like, you have to manifest your goals sometimes. You have to manifest an already done attitude into your results. All right? So I want you to do that. I want you to do 4 for the 6-week challenge. And I don't care what they are. It's up to you, what's important to you. That's going to be a little bit of your homework for the next week. So what do you need to do to shift for a shift in your life? And that's the big takeaway I want you to take tonight. What do you need to do for the next 6 weeks to shift for a shift in your life? What must you stop? And I want you to write that down. So what is a red? So think of a stoplight, red, all right? It's blinking red. What do you need to stop today so that we can make a shift in the next 6 weeks? I need to stop the negative self-doubt. I need to stop eating sugar. I need to stop procrastinating the meal prep and then being overwhelmed. I need to stop not putting the workouts in my Club Ready so that I'm accountable for them. I must stop talking to myself negatively. What is it? What do you need to do to stop the BS from continuing and not seeing the results that you deserve? All right? Yellow. What should you kind of stop? Like, I need to kind of stop going on Facebook, right? All the time. It's very challenging because my business is pretty much on Facebook, so you need to be on there. But I don't need to do it when I'm present with Mila. I don't need to do it right when I wake up in the morning in bed. So that's something that's yellow that I'm stopping. What must I start? What must you start this 6 weeks? I must meal prep. I must write my food log because what I write down is what's going in my mouth. I must get to my workouts. I must try a 60-minute session. I must report to my coach. Your coaches are there. I pay your coaches to be support system. Like, use them. They are like drooling. They're like ready to help you guys. All right. What must you start? How about walking into the studio with a positive attitude? Like, I am ready to beat this workout down. Not, oh my God, I'm so tired. The meal plan sucks. Like, be grateful. And when you're grateful, crazy things will happen. All right. So I really want you to start thinking about what you must stop, what's kind of not really going to help you get to your goal, and what must I start right away to get me to those goals. All right. And that is what I have for you tonight. So I am going to open it up. And if you have any questions, I would love to hear them. Raise your hand if you have a question, and then I will unmute you. And it could be anything on the challenge. Doesn't have to be related to my talk, but I would love to help you guys. You're here on this call. You might as well get the value out of it. I'm here to help you. If you have a question on nutrition, on exercise, please go for it. I saw a hand. Unmute. All right.
Hi.
Hi.
First off, hi. I did not know how to figure out that chat box thing.
That's okay.
So I have a couple questions about the plan itself.
Okay.
So what's the importance of eating all the food on the plan on a given day? Like, is it important to eat everything every day? All the snacks, desserts?
No, everybody's going to react to it differently. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Zach?
Mm-hmm.
So it's designed to not overstuff. So if you're not used to that much food, then no. If you don't finish, like, eat what you feel satiated with and then move on. You don't have to eat everything. If you wanted to skip your snack, skip it. It's okay. It's just my rule of thumb is you don't want to really go past a 3-4 hour mark, because what happens is your blood sugar then starts to drop. All right. So that's the goal. We don't want your blood sugar to drop because then we get irritable, we crave more carbs, and we are tired and we have mood swings. So what we want to make sure we do is just stay satiated. If you're satiated, I don't believe in overstuffing. So you do not have to complete a meal, or you can skip the snack if you're just not hungry. But don't starve yourself. That's the most important.
Right. Okay. And is there a method to the plans and to the meals and how you're introducing them to us each week?
Yes.
Like, does that make sense?
Yep. Yes,
Okay.
there is a method to the madness. It's to basically get you from being a sugar burning machine to a fat burning machine. Most people are sugar burners. That's because they fuel their body with carbs, they don't work out, and burning sugar is great, but we want to burn fat. The way we burn fat is to be in the high intensity interval training workouts with a higher amount of protein and lower in carbs and moderate fat.
So if there's something we like in week 1, we shouldn't really bring it forward to week 2, or
for this one, like if it was a different plan, no. But for this one, you'll see, I will say, if you like the chicken marsala and it was very similar in the macros because it's on the thing, then you can have that. Yeah. It's going to be more of, like breakfast, the snacks. It's not going to change drastically. So you should be able to substitute out.
Okay. All right. Oh, and then I'm going to be away for like 3 days, but not like in a hotel. And can't I don't know, I was going to ask this on Facebook, but is there, like, if you're not going to be home and you're not prepping your meals, how do you apply the plan to that kind of situation?
So when we travel, it ends up being harder, but it's definitely manageable. It depends on where you're going. Like if you're accessible to a store or a restaurant, more like a store. Like I whenever I go to California, I always go to Whole Foods, or they have Sprouts out there, or Ralph's, and I'll buy my snacks, my hard-boiled eggs already done. If you can make oatmeal, if you have a microwave, just depends on what you have, but you can always prepare yourself there. On the airplanes, I always take my own stuff. Bars, like if you are away and a bar is the only thing that you can have, then that's okay. I would go towards a Quest bar or a One bar. Everything right?
The rules are.
Rules? Oh. Sorry. Mila went potty. Okay. And I can post in the group a couple of like options that I go towards. Usually like there's pouches of tuna fish. I'll do, like you don't even have to drain them. They're easy for hotels. Tuna fish, hard-boiled eggs, vegetables, fruit, so oatmeal.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Nuts.
That's it.
Any other question?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Mimi. I'm trying to unmute you. All right. There you go.
I just had a quick question. I keep getting these pop-ups about if I have logged my menu or my meals for the day. And then when I respond to it, it goes into my coach. And today Sydney asked me like why I was posting that. And I said, well, I was just responding to that pop-up. So she said to go ahead and do that, but is that not going to the right place?
So on your My Coach app, when you click the red or the green check?
Yes.
No, you should be doing that.
Okay.
So what is she saying? I'm sorry. What's she saying?
I think she just wasn't, she didn't have the question they asked me. She just had my response.
Oh, okay.
Mine.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fine. That's normal. Anything else?
Well, I just had a quick question about the Saturday workouts, the 1 hour workouts. I recently had an ankle injury, and and I'm waiting to hear if I have torn ligaments or not. I have an MRI tomorrow. But I'm going to boot camp in the morning, and they're modifying for me. But on a Saturday when there's an hour-long workout, would somebody be willing to modify that for me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I can modify anything.
All right, thank you.
There she is. I'm almost done, buddy. Yeah, we can modify. I can modify for you. All right. Any other questions? I can't see a lot of you, so if you have a question, unmute yourself and say hello. Unmute her. Dulcie. Dulcie. Dulcie, can you hear me? It says she's on. I wanted her to tell her secret for her challenges. All right, well, Dulcie, if you are there, come on to and say hello. If not, that is okay. But if we don't have any questions, I'll just give some reminders. So the My Coach app is very good for just staying accountable with your coach. So that's where you'll reach out to them, contact them. Just makes it easy for them to be in control of 10, 15 people at a time. Your habits, you'll get a different habit each day. It's just meant for education. There's nothing that you have to do for the challenge to receive the trip. This is just an added thing that I wanted to give you guys. The 60-minute sessions, they're a lot of fun. Are they challenging? Excuse me. Yes, but I challenge you to try one because everybody who does them gets through them. There's Dulcie.
I know. Can you hear me yet?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know what's happening over here. End of school.
Yep. Now I see you and I hear you.
Okay. Here I am. Hi.
So why don't you tell everybody about what you've been successful at multiple challenges. What is your secret?
Well, my secret for sure, figuring out what my why was. I definitely had some major health issues. Some people knew, some people don't know. Chronic migraines for years. I've seen probably every prominent neurologist in the East Coast. Really high blood pressure. I went into the hospital 2 years ago with blood pressure that was 190 over, I think, 110. The doctors were surprised that I didn't stroke out. And it just really became a matter of I was too young to have this many health problems and be overweight. I loved working out. That wasn't the issue. But for anyone who has migraines, you'll know they're completely debilitating. They really affect your mental health. You just feel depressed. So going through the challenges, I was always committed. I would write my goals down. I would plan my meals. I still prep meals pretty much every Sunday. Unless I know that I can't, then I prep them on Saturday. Leave myself some time during the week if I need to make more food because I do eat. I eat 5 times a day. So people will always comment about that I have lost a lot of weight, but absolutely love to eat. Really increasing my protein. I easily drink 100 ounces of water a day, if not more. And very consistent with workouts. Still to this day, I work out pretty much at 5:30 every morning. And if I can't make that workout, then I find the time after work or go in at night. Consistently, I would say I work out 5 times a week, if not 6. But I do take a rest day, but I enjoy it. It's good for my mental health. And it's good to follow a plan and have a support system. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Even if I'm not your coach, happy to talk to you anytime.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions? You can unmute yourself. I'm here to help. Going once, going twice, going, what is the saying?
I have a quick question for one of my clients since I have you. Is hummus allowed for a snack?
Thomas?
Hummus isn't on the snack list.
Hummus.
But somebody did ask today and I wasn't sure.
Is it on the snack list?
I don't see it on the snack list. They wanted to switch out a snack, I think, and have veggies and hummus.
No, it's high in carb.
I looked at the nutrition, and I would say probably not, because it was like half carbs, half fat.
Yeah.
So no.
I would say no.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
A lot of times we want something that we're used to having, or like a lot of people will say, well, can I do it my way? Or, well, can I just have it because this is what I'm used to eating? And I just challenge you for the next 6 weeks, get a little uncomfortable with not having what you're used to, because that's what's going to help create a new behavior versus falling back into old behaviors where we might be the type, and I'm not saying, Dulcie, this is your client, but you might be somebody who has, a cup to 2 cups of hummus for a snack every day. And then, that's way too much carbohydrates. So, that might be a comfort zone for somebody to still have that snack. So I challenge that person. Let's just change the behavior a little bit. Maybe we have plain Greek yogurt with, somebody did something really good. The ranch flavor god with plain Greek yogurt and dipped carrots and celery in it, and was like, woo! And so much less carbs and full of protein, rather than all of the hummus that's going to just make you bloated and have carbs in it anyway. So there's ways that you can do things that you enjoy, and that's what I also challenge you to do, is for the next 6 weeks, challenge yourself to do something different, but still enjoyable. I don't want you to just have broccoli and chicken every single meal and day. Have cucumbers and peppers with that, Greek yogurt dip. I see you, 1 second. So challenge yourself to try out some new things, because it's just as good as something that maybe that you're just used to. And yeah. Make sense? You have a question, I could tell.
Stacey, I have another question for you.
Sure.
It looks like it's in the chat. Renee wants to know if she can have the smoothie as a dessert instead of the pop.
I don't know off the top of my head the macros for that. I'm assuming is the strawberry milk smoothie a breakfast? I think it's a breakfast, so it would be way more macros than a pop, the pudding pop. So I would say no, but I'll confirm that in the Facebook group. I have to look at it, because I believe it has protein powder in it too. I'll let you know. Where's Renee at? Oh, I can't see her face, but I will let you know, Renee. Any other questions? Thanks again for the important information. Have a good night. Thanks, Mimi. All right, guys. Well, I will post this in the Facebook group so that you can watch it again. Whoop! And bubbles just went everywhere. So I will post this in the Facebook group for you guys to see. If you have questions that you just realized you have, feel free to ask anytime. Each Zoom call will be a different topic. Some will be shorter, some will be longer, and we'll always ask questions at the end. So thank you so much for coming on here. I can't wait to see you guys at the 60-minute session, and get your workouts in tomorrow, and have a great night. Bye, guys.